Hi, what's going on everybody? Welcome back to Philosophy Insights. In my last video, I explored what could be Donald Trump's downfall in the 2024 election, his seeming alignment with the GOP establishment, and his loss of outsider status. Given recent events, I have reconsidered my stance. In this video, I will be exploring why Trump might actually be on the right path this time around. Let's dive in. First off, it sparked quite some controversy when Trump's team used the Foo Fighters song, but I think it started the event off with the right energy. At first glance, it might seem trivial, but music choice at political events isn't just background noise, it's strategic. So also in this case, the Foo Fighters represent an American rock spirit, appealing directly to a demographic that feels overlooked by the coastal elites. This move was a nod to those voters, signaling that Trump still connects with the everyman ethos. Many of the Foo Fighters songs are clearly anti-establishment and critical of elitist thinking. This is of course ironic, since the Foo Fighters, led by Dave Grohl, are in the left establishment camp. They have publicly supported various progressive causes and candidates over the years. For example, they have performed at events supporting Democratic candidates and have been vocal about issues like LGBTQ+ rights and climate change. But that doesn't change the anti-establishment spirit of many of their songs, and that makes it so profound using exactly those songs. Sprinkling some controversy on top of it is never a wrong move. Also, not to forget that Trump brought in RFK Jr. That was quite a hype.
He is a great person. I've known him for so long. For the past 16 months, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. We are both in this to do what's right for the country. That's one thing I can tell you. I am announcing tonight that upon my election, I will establish a new independent presidential commission on assassination attempts. And they will be tasked with releasing all of the remaining documents pertaining to the assassination of President John F. Kennedy.
Don't you want a safe environment for your children? Don't you want to know that the food that you're feeding them is not filled with chemicals that are going to give them cancer and chronic disease? And don't you want a president that's going to make America healthy again? Thank you all very, very much, and God bless you, and God bless America.
Now, about Trump being part of the establishment. Here's where I might have been wrong. Yes, Trump has engaged more with GOP figures and has a more toned-down message to win over the moderates. This, I think, is still correct. However, his recent actions suggest he's using the establishment to amplify his outsider message rather than being absorbed by it. Let's look at some recent developments. We saw especially at the RNC convention that Trump has doubled down on issues that resonate beyond the GOP base. This is pushing for American manufacturing jobs and his tough stance on China. They are definitely more America First policies than standard GOP policies. These are also themes that strike a chord with a broader electorate, including independents and disillusioned Democrats.
Skepticism, if not outright hatred, of the regime, right? It is skepticism or hatred of the FBI, of the intelligence agencies. It is kind of a growing sense of awareness that the government has repeatedly lied to them. It's concerns about how the election was done. It's concerns about kind of this axis of corporate power and deep state power, right? And so there is kind of this, I think, this growing sense that the base has of very, I think very positive from our perspective, this growing cynicism of Washington itself. And so when you hear RFK talk about how he is joining the Trump campaign because of the lawsuits that the Democrats ran against him to keep him off the ballot, when it goes to various aspects of, again, the indictment there is corruption of the Democratic Party, the corruption of the deep state, suppressing free speech, kind of these fairly traditional liberal views that RFK has identified as the Democrat Party now representing the other side of. With Tulsi, similar things, right? She she has been put on a terror watch list, and she, faults the Biden-Harris administration as kind of a blowback retaliatory measure there.
Where it is also in a clear 2016 mode is Trump's use of social media and rallies, even making appearances on YouTube podcasts and online interviews. Here, he continues to bypass traditional media, directly communicating with his supporters. This strategy keeps him as the disruptor of the establishment legacy media complex. His recent rally speeches have rekindled that 2016 energy, focusing on issues like freedom of speech, the right to bear arms, and criticism of overreaching government regulations. There is also the new Kamala Harris factor. In the last video, I mentioned Harris could muddy the outsider narrative because Harris can be seen as representing a more revolutionary progressive spirit. However, Trump's campaign has just recently adeptly highlighted the contradictions in Harris's positioning, painting her not just as an insider, but as part of what is now the new establishment. That is, a progressive establishment in the Democratic Party. And it surely is true. If she were to become president, she would be heavily controlled by the Democratic power complex.
A joke going around about how Kamala Harris, after taking the lead spot on the ticket, Kamala Harris appears to be running something like a generic Democrat in terms of the polls. But I think what we saw at the DNC was that Kamala Harris is also very determined to just run as a generic Democrat, as somebody who has no defining characteristics outside of being a perfectly placed avatar of the party and what it stands for now, or at least what it wants to be seen as standing for in order to win elections.
Moreover, Trump's response to current events, like his stance on law enforcement amidst calls for defunding the police, aligns him with voters who prioritize safety and order. His criticism of cancel culture also taps into a broader cultural unease, positioning him once again as a defender of traditional American values over an encroaching progressive tide. So, my previous analysis pointed out potential pitfalls in Trump's alignment with the GOP establishment. I now see that Trump might be playing a longer game. He's not just a disruptor for the sake of disruption. He's strategically navigating the political landscape to ensure his policies and persona resonate with an America that feels increasingly alienated by political extremes. So, was I wrong about Trump? Perhaps not entirely, but I certainly can see his ability to adapt and maintain his core appeal while navigating a more moderate message in the complexities of party politics. What do you think? How much America First is in his campaign, and is his current strategy the best for the upcoming election? Drop your thoughts below, like, subscribe, and let's keep the conversation going.